I've gone down so many rabbit holes with music and listened to so much different kinds of music, and like half of the songs I listen to today I was never have heard about.
Exactly. No, I know. Like I tell my parents, like, oh, this artist is, has 400,000 monthly listeners, and they're like, first of all, like that doesn't even mean anything to them. And then I'm like, yeah, that's like compared to Taylor Swift is 100 million, and they're like, they're like the fact that you have that stat and you can find these artists who are so like underground is like crazy, and everyone's making music and now like people can get heard and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, I know.
It's really cool.
I mean, those big numbers are so hard to conceptualize. Like 400,000
Exactly,
seems so
I know
big,
that too. Yeah, I know. And then sometimes you get people that like surge in like monthly listeners, and you're like, holy shit, they're like really popular now and all
I
that.
know.
Yeah. I did a project in high school for AP Research.
AP Research.
And it was on SoundCloud actually, and I like produce music like in my free time,
Wow.
like beats and stuff. I have been just doing like casual like as a hobby, and for this project I made like 8 beats and I put them out like one every week, and I measured like how much engagement I got on SoundCloud based on like a free account and then one that was like paid using like their they have like features that like put it out to more people basically, so it like forces listens, and it was cool like to see like the recommendation features that are like behind the scenes on SoundCloud and stuff.
So you
and
researched the whole thing on your own?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was mainly like an experiment in a way where it was just like I was gathering the data rather than like it wasn't like a full like in depth into SoundCloud, but like obviously I needed some background info, so I looked into that, and it was interesting to see like the whole like emerging artist thing is like only a thing now because there's these platforms that like you can find new artists on. Like that was never a thing before. If you're an emerging artist, you were like doing some random gigs and like only your like town knew about you, and now it's cool that like
That's so cool. I'm so curious like how that whole thing works. 'Cause I was actually reading recently about how Spotify does it. I think
really?
their whole backend is like designed with these like entity graphs and preference vectors and all this stuff.
Oh my god,
so, like,
yeah.
I'm curious, like in your research, like what did you learn about like SoundCloud's recommendation engine? Like how does whatever level you
again,
go.
I didn't really learn much about the recommendation because I was really looking at this one feature that was on SoundCloud where I would literally put out a song and I'd hit a button and it would distribute it to 100 people, like, and like force it into their like recommended like
did you
shuffle.
pay for that or did it just
The whole like pro subscription was like 100 something bucks a year, and so I just paid for it for the year, and then that's like kind of like the main feature is they're like you get your music heard by more people rather than if you were to just put the music out, it would literally just sit out there like waiting to be discovered if it doesn't have any like previous engagement. So a lot of like the background I did too is on like the history of like music streaming, where like iTunes started the whole like you buy a song at a time, which sounds so crazy right now, and then like Apple Music and stuff and Spotify now do like the streaming race, you subscribe to it. But I didn't look into like the algorithm part of recommendation systems as much as I would like, but a lot of it is like you listen to this amount of music when you first start streaming, right? You listen to, let's say, like only Drake, and then it's like what other listeners listen like to Drake, and maybe it's people who listen to like Lil Baby and listen to like Gunna, and then it's like, okay, that's kind of like your typical like rap hip hop. But then there also might be someone who listens to a lot of Drake but then listens to like something that's like slightly different, where it's more like I don't know, some rap adjacent genre, and then it might like throw in a couple songs in there for you because there's others that listen to a lot of Drake like you, but then will listens to like different genre. Then if you keep going and listen to that genre, you like you keep branching into like different.
It's so
cool. It's cool. Like it's like they create a profile on you as expected, right? And then they like base it off other people.
Wow.
It's cool.
I mean, I guess like so much of the music I've found has been like be playing on song on Spotify and letting like autoplay go for a little bit, or like the mixes it makes, and like I look at some of my favorite artists now. I'm like, people ask me how'd you find out about it. I'm like, I think it just came up one day like on
exactly.
Spotify.
I know. I'll be like my top 5. I always have this one artist named Koi. He's like super small, probably like 70K monthly listeners. He's like a white boy rapper, but I think he's really talented in like good beat selection and all that. People are like, and how did you find him? You know what I mean? Friends who have like all like mainstream, which is fine. And I'm like, I don't know. I heard a beat by him one time, and I looked at his account, and I looked through all of his albums, and he has good music. Like, and I wouldn't have gotten that if they didn't like recommend that to me. I would never have found it. It's cool.
I think SoundCloud's Pro thing is pretty cool because I guess like distribution is such a challenge without like a label, or if you're making music on your own. And it's like there's so many people out there who can just hit like publish online. And it's like, if you really think you have talent and you really want to get your music out, I'm sure it's like so hard. Yeah,
actually, the Pro thing, the thing I didn't mention is it also acts as oh my god, I forgot the name. Like a distribution service. Like you can pay. Like there's one called like DistroKid, and you can like pay like a small fee to get a song posted onto Spotify, because Spotify is a little bit harder barrier to entry, obviously, than SoundCloud. So what they do is they kind of act as like your record label. Like, you know, normal, like, you know, Drake will have his OVO record label that gets him on Spotify. He has that reputation. But like with this, it's like you're basically paying for like a like fake like record label that stands in, and then you can put it on Spotify. Because I don't know if you know, you can't just like put a song on Spotify like with an audio file, but you can do that on SoundCloud. Yeah, no.
Okay, because I have friends that like publish music on Spotify. So
yeah,
I was curious,
and it's
like,
not.
how they did it.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. It's probably like $2 for like a song, and it depends. Like if you can get monetized off that, and they'll take a little portion of it and all that. But like a record label would. But that's a part of like paying for the pro SoundCloud is you can post on SoundCloud, but also to like other platforms.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, sick, man. So I'm sure you're curious about the whole like the back end distribution and like the algorithmic side of things.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, like, so you also were making music on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So like, is that another passion of yours? Like, you enjoy the process of making stuff? Or?
If you want to know like how I started, I don't know. Always have listened to music like anybody, but I don't know if you know the genre lo-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I listened to a ton of that while doing homework. Like, I'm trying to think, maybe like freshman year. And started to realize, like, I also play piano, like, a little bit. I learned for a few years, and I like to just, like, learn songs that, like, I'm interested in. And lo-fi has a lot of, like, piano chords in the background, right? And so I was with my friend, and we opened up BandLab, which is a free, it's like GarageBand, right, the Apple one. And just played around with some chords. I was like, there's some cool sounds on here and stuff. And, like, drum patterns is always something I'd always like to tap out with my, like, pencils and stuff, like, in, like, middle school and stuff. And, you know, lo-fi is pretty slow, and so it's easy to get, like, the drums, like, right in a way. Started making, like, some lo-fi beats just on my own, and they were, like, super simple. Like, looking back, it's, like, crazy. And then, you know, transferred into, like, I got into, like, Cardi, like, for a while, and then I tried making that music, and I got, like, maybe one beat that was, like, actually good there.
Yeah. Do you have it on your phone or something you could play?
What was that?
Do you have it on your phone or something? I want to hear
Dude, yeah. Where's my phone at? It'll take me a sec. But,
yeah, take your time. I'm a huge music junkie, bro. I love everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I've always been into the more like electronic synth kind of stuff, because like as in terms of making it, I love like listening to like, but like the whole guitar thing is like, and like real percussion is like so out of my, I don't know, my.
This might be too beginner level for you, but I mean, I would consider taking the class. I don't know, Pat 200. Do you know about that class?
No, I haven't heard.
So it's a class I'm taking right now. It's electronic music production.
Oh, that's sick.
So they teach you how to use Ableton and how to make music.
That's awesome.
So I'm
trying
to learn.
Wait, I gotta look into that. If that's what's it called?
Pat 200.
What's the
so Pat is like performance arts technology.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
So yeah, their whole class. There's like a whole
This is one of my recent ones I'm proud of. Wait, you want me to just like play it?
Yeah, just play it here.
It's you know, Justin Bieber just dropped an album.
When was
called Swag? Like
I don't listen to it.
About like 2 months ago, probably longer now. But there's a song called Yukon, and it's really like slow with just him and a guitar, and I turned it into like a little house beat.
A little sample.
Yeah. So like, I could play this here. I should have like sent this to you. It's gonna be off my phone now.
You'll pick it up.
Yeah. So I sped it up, added some drums, added some everything. But usually the song's just voice and guitar.
Yeah, play the original off of this too.
Yeah, and it's just like a little chill.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, so I love sampling too because it's like they kind of did all the hard work, but you get to like add your own touch to it.
Yeah.
So like with this song, yeah, it's a little simple, but that song is like super simple because it was just vocals and guitar, and then I like Googled like what the key of the song is in and like what the chord progression is. So I added some like pads in the background, some like keys. I added like a little melody for like the chorus part so that it had something, and then obviously the drums. There's a few like preset like house drums that I like, and you know, some like shakers and stuff, all the layers, and then it's like arrangement, right? Which is if you said you're taking that class,
yeah,
you could
I'll look you like check out in class though.
Oh, okay, really? Yeah.
Should be learning.
But like arranging is literally just like, you know, what does the intro look like? What does the chorus look like? Is the next chorus like different and all that? And that like is also important because it like, you know, you could hear like 10-second sample, but it's like what part of the song is that in? Because you need the whole song to be like the context of the chorus, and yeah. But yeah, I don't. Did you have another question that I missed?
I don't remember. Maybe
okay.
I did. But do you use Ableton for that, or
I use FL Studio.
FL Studio.
Yeah, it's just like the other big one.
Yeah. Do you have a preference for why you choose that one?
I have never tried Ableton. I was using BandLab for a while, and I was like, oh, I feel so limited on like the sounds, which is like kind of not true. Like you can get creative, but and And then for Christmas, I was like, I wanted to get FL Studio. So with that, you can like buy other plugins that have like thousands of sounds. It's crazy the amount of money you can spend. But and then with that, I don't know. I'm like still learning like shortcuts and things you can use because the interface is just like infinitely like I don't know. There's so much to do. But it's. Yeah, I like doing that in my free time and being like proud of like the beats that I make and stuff. It's cool.
It's a good way to spend your time.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you this before. Just keep an eye on that. It's going, right?
Yeah.
Like the sound waves.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just make sure it doesn't turn off. But yeah, I mean, I've always like been into music, and I've like every few months I go down a different path, a different genre, and I think over the last few years I've explored like almost like every like popular genre, and like all these artists from different eras, and like. My favorite thing is when I just discover samples on my own. I'm like across genres.
Yes,
like,
I know what you mean.
I know that sound.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I used to listen to MF Doom so much back in like.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
And then I got into like the Beatles last year, and I just hear like a Beatles violin that I remember from a different MF Doom song. I'm just like I'm seeing these samples across the era, across genres. It's just crazy to see that. So sampling is one of my favorite parts of music.
No, it's so cool, and I love when I know what you mean. I love when like an artist like Don Toliver samples a lot. And like I like the song because of the sample, and then you hear like the original, and you're like, oh my god, like he found this on his own and like turned it into something. Yeah.
Did you like his new album?
Yeah, I
really
did.
Liked it.
There's one song, Second Hand.
Oh, that's like the drill. The what's it called? The drill one, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've like probably listened to that like 20 times since it came out. I don't know why, I just love that song. I like the sample and all that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good album. Yeah. And then J. Cole just dropped.
Did he?
And he hasn't dropped in like years, and it was long.
Is it good?
I started it. It was pretty good so far. Yeah.
Okay, I've like not liked a lot of J. Cole's newer stuff. Like.
You've not liked?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest J. Cole fan, but like obviously 2014 is like one of my favorite rap albums. But like I've listened to some of his newer drops. Like he drops like EPs and stuff here and there, and it's like I've never like I don't know. I just didn't like.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I really like For Your Eyes Only. I literally have that album like on my wall in my home or in my room at home. Yeah, I just so like the jazz like and the hip hop is so.
Yeah,
good.
I like jazz rap a lot. Like Tribe Called Quest, Kendrick.
Yeah.
They do good. It's a good sound. I wanted to low-key show you one of my favorite samples I like discovered.
Yeah.
Like the original one I heard was called Tick Tick by MF Doom. Do you know this one? Are you MF Doom fan or no?
If I heard it, I know like his hits and stuff, but
Tick Tick. It's not really a popular one. I've
gone through his like discography.
Yeah, like I remember I heard the song Doomsday.
Yeah, I know Doomsday.
Yeah, I heard that like in wrestling practice or something, and then like I listened to his album like December 2021, and then I really like this. That's like a TJ song too.
Yeah, that was my number one. I think like last year.
Lil TJ.
Yeah,
that
like, no, it was my number one song.
That song is great.
Yeah.
But this song. But the violin in the background, like... You hear that violin in the background?
Yeah.
So I thought, like, this
whatever, right? It's kind of like out of tune in, like, a weird way. Like,
they took a Beatles violin and just fucked it up.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, like, I was listening to the Beatles, like, self-titled album, like, last year for the first time, and, like...
Okay, yeah.
This song was playing. Strawberry Field. And then give it a second.
Oh yeah.
They just took this ending, bro.
Okay, yeah, and it goes like down and gets. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
That shit was sick. I was studying. I put this on low volume. I'm like, wait, did the album change or something? And I look back. I'm like, it's the same song.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way.
Bro, yeah, that's exactly. That's what I mean. It's so cool.
Yeah, music is great. There's just so much out there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Have you made you mainly make like this kind of house kind of music, or do you?
I got into that like recently because I got into like listening to house, and I was like, it can't be that hard to like make it, but obviously like it's hard to make something that's like super catchy.
Yeah.
But I also I don't know. I've varied a lot. I've made some like lo-fi. I don't know. There's this really, really niche genre called plug and B, and it uses like all of these like super like I guess you say like cheesy like synth sounds, but it's like based on like R&B in the way that it's like chord progressions that have like they're supposed to be like emotional and stuff, but it's all like no singing or anything usually over it. It's all just like the melodies are in the instruments, and it uses like what's called plug like drums, which is like kind of like a subgenre within hip hop. And then the R&B, like plug and B, right? The R&B aspect is all like the melodies and stuff, and it's like hella layers and stuff. But I got into that for a while, like right when I got FL Studio, because it had some good sounds, and I even bought a like plugin for it, because it was like, you know, the plug and B plugin, and I made a lot of those. So like I still listen to that sometimes when I'm bored of lo-fi, but yeah, I should show you. You know,
definitely. Send me everything you're
working on. It's some cool. It's like an interesting genre. Definitely not for everyone. Like I played it for my dad, and he's like, "This is overstimulating. Like I can't do this." So, but I mean, it's like it's just music.
Yeah, I'll dabble. Yeah. You know, as someone who likes music so much, I'm surprised I've never really tried to make music or play music. So like the first time I played an instrument was like last Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So like 4 months ago, I tried playing the guitar, and I've been like practicing when I go home on breaks, and like. I've not really been locked in this class because I get so busy. I use it as my study hall half the time. Yeah. But it's like when I actually go to do the assignments, I'm like, you know, it's low key fun to make this stuff, right? Like I was following this YouTube tutorial and I put this like thing together. I guess I can play it. Yeah, I closed it actually. I'll play it later.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But like I'm trying to like take samples of like my favorite songs and like throw it in and make something cool. But it's low key tough.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Time, I know. Like. Not in an arrogant way, but it's like to me, like, you know, really liking music is at least trying to make it yourself, whether you like play an instrument or like try to make a beat, like even if it's like, you know, shit beat, like I don't know, it's worth making it because like yeah, it's cool to admire it and stuff, but like you shouldn't, I don't know, I think it's cool to know the back end, if we're gonna use that word again, right, of what it's like to like actually make a song. Yeah, I'm
sure you appreciate the whole process. Like you keep doing it for so long, you probably like understand it in a different way than most people. You hear the little like, things.
Yeah, when I hear like some songs, if it's like something that's more interesting, if it's just a song I like, I'm not thinking the same way. But like sometimes I'll be like, you know, here's something I'm like, how do they do that? Like to myself, like, and like, you know, it's not extreme, but sometimes I'll like not even enjoy the song the first time because if they're using like a crazy like instrument or they did some effect, I'm like, you know, oh, how'd they do that while I'm listening? And then I gotta like re-listen. But that's just because like, you know, once you're in the technicality of it, you just like are curious on like, you know, all the nitty gritty and like what are they doing to make it sound that way. It's cool.
That's cool. That's kind of how I feel about film because like I took like a mobile video workshop class when I was in sophomore year, and we built like this really cool film. And like after I took that class, like I really got obsessed with like film, and I used to be really obsessed with it when I was younger. Like I had a YouTube channel with like hundreds of videos.
Oh, nice.
And I was like 7 years old, just like making videos every day of like stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've always been like curious about that. So like after I take that class, like whenever I like watch a video on YouTube or like see some video somewhere, like I'm constantly thinking about the angles, like the background, how they're filming it, and like
exactly, yeah, I'm sure.
I do this now, which is like a little bit more simple on the filming side, but like I still find it very fascinating, like you know, lighting, camera positioning.
Yeah, that's like the details. Like how did they get it to be that way? Because like it is intentional usually, especially if it's like someone that's you know a good videographer, good photographer, whatever it is, and yeah, it's all intentional, and you're like, you know, how did they get there? Yeah, that's cool.
Did you play any instruments, anything growing up, or?
Yeah, I played piano. I learned for like 3 years. But I learned in like a non-traditional way where I didn't learn to read music first, which is typically what you do. It was literally like my teacher would sit down and like play a couple keys, and then I would sit down and like literally just repeat what I heard. And I don't know, I think that like to me that was like, it felt like I was actually like, I don't know how to describe it, like doing my own, like producing my own like music in that way, because I wasn't just reading it sheet music and like translating it. So I think that like helped with like my production like ability, where like, or I should say my desire to like be able to make music is because I literally was just copying like what I heard rather than, you know, translating. And I played for like 3 years and then just stopped because I don't know, I just didn't want to go anymore. But then, and we had a piano at home. We eventually sold the piano. Then me and my brother were like, wait, we want the piano back. So we got like a nice like digital one. And now I just learn music on my own. Like if I learn a new song and it's like mostly in piano, I'll like go Google like a YouTube video and teach it to myself. It's fun.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing with guitar. Like I just watched YouTube videos and my sister teach me like my favorite songs. But I'm curious, like when your teacher was teaching you without sheet music first, like was that an intentional choice you made? Because like you want to do differently, or
I mean that was a choice for my mom, but but I don't know. I think she probably, you know, saw something online and was like, it's better to just not learn. Because, like, I'm sure kids get so burnt out if you learn to read sheet music first, because then you're like, this isn't even, like, playing. Like, I want to make music, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it wasn't my choice, but I'm definitely happy that we chose that because it felt so much easier to, like, go to, like, you know, go to practice or lessons every day. Because it was literally just, I started to, like, memorize things. And that was just, like, my way of playing was just, like, you know, what should it sound like? And then Yeah.
And maybe somewhere in the back of your head, you kind of design your own kind of sheet music understanding of
right.
the keys.
Yeah.
You're really some way of like understanding.
Yeah.
What.
I'm sure it's different for like everyone who plays an instrument, but it's like the way you like the construct you have of like how the piano works. Yeah, it was definitely different, but couldn't explain it to you.
Do you know Dire Straits, the band?
I know the name. I know nothing about them.
Like I like a lot of their songs, and like the other night I was like bored and I was watching like one of their live performances.
Okay.
The song "Sultan of Swing" and.
Oh yeah, that's the song I know. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a performance that was done as well as that.
Really?
Like, I'm forgetting the name of the lead guitarist, but I mean the way like usually when you play a song live it's not perfect, but like it sounded perfect the way he was playing, and it's a very complex song, and he was singing and guitaring at the same time.
Oh my god!
I want to show you this.
Yeah, whenever I see someone doing that or singing in piano, dude, I can barely like respond to someone if someone asks me a question while I'm playing piano.
I'm gonna start a screen recording so that they can see it in the podcast. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, it's amazing. What was it? Sultans. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever seen a performance done as good as this one. It's like also 10 minutes long, but I'll show you the first video.
Awesome. When is this from?
What year?
Yeah. You said?
Wonder. 90.
Okay.
Sometime in the 80s.
Yeah,
probably.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, this is a good song.
He plays it so perfectly, man.
Yeah, the way he ends his words is so unique. Like,
yeah, it's like an aura in his voice.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what he's. Yeah.
It's like a low kind of.
Yeah, you're like smooth. The way he connects his words.
Yeah, you're more into like hip hop, right? That's kind of your thing. Or?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy a lot of rock stuff if it's not like metal, but
you don't fucking metal.
But I think I like it more than I feel like I don't like go out of my way to find rock. Like even if it's like old stuff that like my dad loves rock from his era. But like when I hear it, I love it. So I really should. It's a reminder to myself. I really should go out and look for rock more and like just play that because it's good.
Yeah, I've only gone to it the last year. Like,
okay.
Probably about a year and a half ago. I've just been like so obsessed with rock. I used to be just huge hip hop.
Yeah, right. But like, there's way more out there than hip hop. Like, yeah.
Hip hop was cool. Cause I started mainstream, but then I went back to 2000s and 90s hip hop.
Okay.
Now I'm kind of looping to like 70s, 60s like rock and stuff.
Got you. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But it's cool, man. Music is such a big part of my life now.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's such a as a humanity, like the fact that we've created something that like we've been making music forever and we've never made like the same song twice. You know what I mean? We always come up with new music and like I saw a thing. It's like there's only 12 notes in a scale, right? And we still create like literally an infinite amount of songs with those 12 notes. It's pretty
crazy?
impressive. Yeah.
It is crazy.
Yeah,
man.
it's cool.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons sampling is people find it so cool is because I think there's something really cool about hearing a sound that's familiar, but like kind of not familiar at the same time. Like it's kind of why dreams are so fascinating because like at one point they feel like they make full sense, but then they don't make any sense at all. It's like kind of uncanny. I think we have I think something about humans like likes that uncanniness of that like it's there but it's not there. And I think that's what sampling kind of is. It's like you hear the sound but it's sped up a little bit or it's turned down a little bit and it's like the bird's like it sounds so familiar but I can't grasp it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the feeling I get when I listen to sampling.
It's like because it's familiar so it catches your attention that way, but it's also like different. So you're like curious, like like what have they done like with this and like how's it gonna? Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's cool. Yeah, so is music more like a hobby? Kind of where does it fit into the biggest scale of things in your life? And
I mean, I don't know. I'd say it's up there, like listening to. I mean, like everyone does, I listen to music between classes and stuff. But like, I'm very intentional about what I'm listening to. Like, I'll take like my time before I leave for the day. I'm like, what am I gonna listen to on my long walk to my first class and stuff? I'd say it's up there, and obviously at the gym, it's a big thing too, for me and for everybody. And then I've definitely been making it like less since coming here just because I'm busy. But like, I still play piano. There's piano rooms in my dorm. Still play piano like. Probably 2-3 times a week. I'll like if I just have some time, I'll go sit in the room and just like play, all the songs I know off memory, and it's just like a way to like don't think about anything but playing the piano while I'm playing. So yeah, I don't know. In different ways, I'd say it's a big part of my life for sure.
So did you go to the gym a lot more before, and like coming here has kind of slowed down, or how does that fit in your picture? Yeah.
The gym or
the gym? Yeah.
No, I've gone to the gym. I'd say a lot here.
Oh, okay.
Like I was saying making music, like producing. Okay. Yeah. Just because I'm busy with other things, and I don't know. But no, with the gym, I first got into it like sophomore year, but really just in the summer because I ran cross country, and like there's like literally no way to get enough calories in and enough protein in while running that much to gain muscle. Like I literally was like, it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? And we would go to the weight room with my team, but it wasn't like anything crazy. But I think I really got into it like junior year when I like, as everybody, you like actually care about the way that you look more, and it's obviously healthy to go to the gym. So yeah, I would go to like Planet Fitness and stuff because it was cheap, but got into it with one of my friends that also ran for a while, but he kind of quit because he got burned out of running, and he got into the gym like big, and he kind of got me into it. And now, it's a huge part of my life. I always see there. I feel awful if I'm not there for like 3 days. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, what am I doing? So
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you miss like playing a sport at all, or you've been like the gym's been like fulfilling?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say I do miss sports for sure. Like
you
gym
just
is
cross
like
country,
a good
right?
like what?
You just played cross country, right?
I ran cross country, and then I played lacrosse.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and I love lacrosse. I would say I miss that, like just a team sport, like so much, like the culture you have with the team, and like lacrosse is like unique to me, like just because it's really technical compared to like soccer is technical, but it's a lot easier to like get into. But with lacrosse, I don't know, I love like learning like the little intricacies and stuff. And I haven't shot around since like last summer, so I miss that for sure. Like I played IM football, and I was like, dude, I miss having like a team, and like I don't know, I'd say the gym it works as a replacement, and I'd rather be doing it than not doing it, but I definitely do miss. And running cross country is totally different from a ball sport, like in my opinion, like because it's so individual, but then also like the team is like you're going on these hard runs with your team like every day, and the bonding you get there is like there's something else.
Yeah, I think it's something about like camaraderie plus like physical endurance that together is just such a cool combo.
Yeah,
that I think that's why everyone always misses high school sports.
Exactly.
And, you're kind of in the same boat I was in last year because I went the whole year really kind of just lifting.
Okay, really.
I was like, damn, I miss being part of a team. That's kind of why this semester I joined the boxing team. And it's actually kind of fulfilled that same kind of thing that I missed from before, like having a team, community, and like something that's hard, something to work for, meets to go to. Like that's low-key a fun part of life. So
exactly.
I'm glad I was able to kind of reconnect with that. But do you consider doing anything in Michigan, or?
I definitely want to consider boxing.
Bro.
My friend was like a amateur boxer. He probably put, I don't know, took like 15 fights and like at his gym that he and they were like these events like you could go to and just like watch. And he just, I don't know really why he got into boxing, but he goes to Michigan State, and he was the first person I like called when I wanted to go hit the bag, because like I've gone probably a dozen times to the IM to like hit the bag. I've watched YouTube videos and stuff.
So you kind of learned a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, like the technique, and like I mean like a lot of sports it's like strict these kind of punches and everything, but it's so organic and like how you use everything, like how you utilize those. And I think boxing's, I think it's something that every guy should learn.
Yeah,
I think it's cool to know how to
Yeah, we have some guys on the team that ran cross country in high school too.
Really?
So
okay.
I think you'll definitely do well if you tried. Because you already have a little bit of experience, and like you also have probably great cardio.
Yeah, I mean a little more washed than I'd like to admit, but
it'll come back.
It'll come back exactly.
Yeah. Like I didn't do cardio for a year, and it just kind of clicked right away.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, I think you'd have fun. It's a great team. I'm
cool.
trying to get as many people to come sign up in the fall as possible.
Okay, yeah.
I think you'd love it, so it'll be great to have you there.
Yeah, no, it seems like fun. And like, might as well try something new. Like I'd like to join some sort of, I am in the running club. I went about 2 times, I'll admit. They have it every day. And I only went 2 times, so.
They have it every day?
Yeah, I mean, it's all optional. Like, it's totally like a relaxed club. But there are people that like compete. Like, I have a friend that I ran cross country with in high school that's here, and he's like gone to all the meets, they went to like Virginia and went to like Indiana and stuff. It was cool,
sick,
but
bro.
I literally went there twice, and I was just like, I don't know. When it gets to that time of day, it's in the evening. I'm like, dude, I'm in like homework, like see friends like mode. I don't know.
Yeah.
So kind of lost that drive to run specifically, but yeah, boxing seems cool for sure.
Yeah.
I think I could pivot.
Because I tried I wrestled in high school.
Okay.
And I tried going to practice or 2 when I got to Michigan, but again, it was like it's freshman year at the beginning of the year. It's like it just didn't feel the same. And I was like, I didn't really feel like going to those practices, and so I decided I was kind of the same boat as you. I kind of didn't do it, But I think when the time is right, like the right opportunity kind of comes your way, and I think that's kind of what Boston was for me. So
that's good.
Hopefully you find something in Michigan that you can kind of, even if it's not running with something, you know.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, that's cool to hear. I know.
Yeah.
I think definitely by next year, like going all summer without doing anything, I'll be like, I think it's time. Like even if I'm, that much more busy every week, I think it's worth instead of chilling at home, like might as well be out there, whatever, hitting the bag with friends. That'd be
Yeah. Do you have plans for the summer yet, or what you want to do?
One of the big things in terms of like working and stuff, I don't have a job, don't have an internship. I haven't put out the effort for it, unfortunately. But also being kind of undecided in a way as I am. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to put my effort into, and like with business and engineering, it's like so much, I feel like, easier to just throw out a million applications and you might like get one, rather than with being kind of in healthcare and I might do engineering. Like, with healthcare you don't really like get an internship. It's kind of like volunteering hours or like looking for research. So I'm kind of just waiting for like.
When you say healthcare, do you mean pre-med, or what do you mean by healthcare?
I don't know if I'm pre-med. I don't know if I'm engineering. I'm telling you, I'm still undecided. I really need to like do some soul searching. Like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? But so this summer, I don't really know what I want to do. Ideally, I either like volunteer at like a hospital at home, even if I'm doing like busy work. It just kind of be cool to like be surrounded in that area, just see what like the hospital's like, or look at some research opportunities if there's like some things I can get like last minute here. But I don't know. I'll probably just find a typical job, in my hometown. But
that's true.
One thing I'm doing is my brother is studying abroad. He goes here. He's a junior, and but he's in Madrid right now, and I'm gonna visit him in May.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna see Madrid. I've never been to Spain, and then we're also gonna go to Portugal, and then Madeira is like an island off of Portugal, and so that's like something I'm looking forward to for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, for the summer, not much.
That's sick, man. Yeah. I think you got some fun stuff coming on the way. Fun big life decisions coming on the way.
Yeah, that too, for
sure. Obviously you don't know yet, and you got to do some searching on your own. But I guess out of the different pillars that you're kind of living in between, like, have you noticed like you typically tend to lean one way or the other? Or, like, what's appealing about all three? Like, what do you kind of see? Where are you at right now in that process?
I think what's appealing about all three is just like the human biology aspect. I've just always been fascinated with biology and stuff. I've been reading like those kind of I don't even know what the word is. What is it? Whatever, just science books for forever. And what was it?
So what's some of your favorites?
No, like I'm like when I was a kid, like National Geographic books, like the big what are they called? Encyclopedias, maybe?
Is that what they're called?
Almanac, something like that. Okay. And so I don't know. That stuff's just fascinating to me, but I don't know, because being a doctor is like, you usually do the bio like undergrad and you study that, but obviously being a doctor is like you're not using that every day. It's more of like the healthcare, like you're taking responsibility. And I don't know if I want to, it's a big decision obviously, and med school's tough and all that. So I haven't fully committed to that. And then with engineering, straight up, like, it's hard to be in engineering, right? Especially at school like this. But then also I think I'd really enjoy, assuming I get a degree like in some sort of tech field, whether I'm using the tech or, designing the tech or improving the tech, whatever it is. I think I'd really get fulfillment out of that, because I've always been into tech also, and just like machinery. It's just also fascinating. So like obviously BME seems like a perfect cross between the two, but we'll see. I think the bio is obviously central there. I just think biology over, any other discipline is like just fascinating to me, how that stuff works. And it's all behind the scenes, and it's how you live, like has to do with your well-being every day and stuff like that. So
no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's an intersection of topics that I found very interesting as well. Human biology is like, I wouldn't say like I enjoy like biology kind of classes, but I guess the concept of like the human genome and like how your body works is so fascinating.
Exactly. Like it's like insane that we are just walking around with these like almost perfect, machines that just work, and like we I think it's really cool.
It's hard to really think if it's like, is it really all just evolution that came from like randomness and all this stuff, or like was there intelligent design involved? Like, it's such a confusing to think about, because when you really think of like how perfect the human body really is, or like life really is, or the brain even is like,
oh my god,
is that really just randomness and particles? Like, I don't know, it's just really cool, and it's so intricate, so confusing that no one really knows the answer.
Exactly. I know, it's crazy. And like, I don't know, the fact that we have like the consciousness to like reflect on that is also really cool, because like every other animal is just as fascinating biologically, but they don't like know that. Like we have studied it and stuff, so I figured like we have the ability to study it. I think it's amazing, and it applies to like not everyday life, but like certain majors to me and stuff was not appealing because I feel like they're just like their own thing and you really have to like that like domain. But with like human bio, it's like it applies to everybody, like being healthy and all that. It applies to everyone. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about like last year around this time, maybe like a little bit, maybe it was last summer. I was like thinking about BME because I was originally just a CS major. And, like, I was having second thoughts if I want to go just a typical SWE route, but, like, I also really like CS.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like startups, so it was, like, really in this, like, weird limbo of, like, I don't really know what I want to do either, but I knew I like working on projects and startups, and I think with the CS bubble and AI and all this stuff, I was thinking, like, it'd be nice to pick up, like, a second skill that would help me to, like, go into a niche. Okay. And that's why I was thinking, like, pick up an engineering, because I thought, like, with software and hardware skills, I can become, like, a domain expert in one area and like work on startups in that area, and like that kind of is your advantage or your moat instead of just another CS guy trying to make a startup.
I like that a lot. Yeah. It's more of like a holistic like approach to like the whole process rather than like just like one skill. Yeah, I see what you mean. That's cool.
What I was thinking is like, okay, if I do CS and BME, could I work on like a tech device startup or something?
Right. So yeah.
I was thinking that, but then like I had second thoughts on that, and then I was like, because I was unclear about what if I really want to go all in on bio. So then I decided maybe like CS plus EE as like the kind of combo.
Okay.
Just because it gives you a little bit more like room to kind of move around.
Exactly.
Industry to industry, but
yeah.
I guess I'm also pretty unclear. Like I eventually want to work on a project that's pretty niche in like one industry, and I want to try to become an expert in that industry first. But like I decided to actually, I was telling you before, like I just recently started working on a project with my friend. It related to like a bio kind of startup. But yeah, it's a tool. It's a software tool for people with type 1 diabetes. So,
okay, yeah. What is it like? Like, what does it look like to use it, or is it still like completely in the works?
Yeah, I can kind of walk you through the idea, but I don't know how much you know about people with type 1 diabetes.
Not much.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like the basic that like it's the whole like blood sugar like levels they can't regulate as easily because of there's a lack of insulin, right? And so, but I don't know much about it being like specifically type 1. So
yeah, so the difference between type 1 and type 2 is type 1 is your body doesn't produce insulin.
Okay.
At all. I don't know if it's genetically or conditioned. Like people don't really know yet.
Yeah.
It's kind of unclear. There's some genetic component to it, but usually it's earlier onset. Usually like. There's a lot of proven reason that you do X, that's why you got it. Like, nobody really knows why you get it. Type 2 diabetes is typically, it's more studied, and it's like, you usually get it if you've been eating pretty unhealthy.
Right.
Your metabolic health gets bad over years, usually much later onset, and you get it because you become insulin resistant.
Okay.
So, yeah. The thing with type 1 diabetes is that since they can't, like, regulate their blood glucose level, they have to, like, constantly ingest insulin into their body throughout the day.
Yeah.
Right, so there's... Yeah.
Inconvenient.
Very annoying. So it's like, if I'm about to eat a meal in like 20 minutes, I have to remember 20 minutes before to like put my insulin in. But also have to think about how much do I want to inject based on my current blood glucose level, based on how big my meal is going to be, based on how many carbs I'm going to have in that meal. But also like, meal timing is so unpredictable if you're a social person. You're kind of going like day-to-day life. You don't want to make it super predictable, but also your blood glucose level is affected by stress. It's affected by how recently you exercised, whether you're drinking, how much sleep you got. So it's like people with type 1 diabetes typically get used to it, and they're typically used to like estimating like how much they need to be ingesting and what time schedule. But throughout the day, it's like they're constantly thinking about it. And like the analogy I heard that was kind of interesting. It's like you're driving a car, but the wheel responds 10 minutes late, and it's like a winding road.
Okay, yeah, right.
So it's like you kind of have to know like in advance like what's about to happen,
right?
Plan out your day, but you kind of get good at it. So in the background of your mind, you're constantly adjusting it. But it's pretty stressful. And the worst parts are that if your blood glucose goes too low, it's pretty fatal. You can die in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Geez.
So it's like
you just don't function if you don't have glucose.
So I'm sure you've seen people wear like little like pads that's constantly tracking their glucose. Yeah. So when they're wearing that, their app will like alert them if they go below 7. It's like urgent, like. Bolus now, put your insulin in now. That could happen like during a date or in the middle of the night,
right?
Or in a job interview or during an exam. In fact, my friend with type 1 diabetes walked out of multiple exams.
Jeez, yeah. So I didn't even think about like that. Like you think about like they might have like a an emergency situation. You don't even think about the timing of it. Yeah. It's like quite literally like a life or death. Like, you have to tend to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go too high, like that's a problem as well. It's not directly fatal, but if you're going high too frequently, it affects your heart. So typically they live 10 years less.
Wow.
So it's like that's something we think about as well. If you go like 180 above, you need to be like regulating that as well. Maybe eat a little bit more, or maybe adjust it. So based on like the scale.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that your life is pretty stressful.
Yeah. Right.
And the problem we notice with current tools is that 1 second. I'm kind of sick. I guess it should come out.
Take some water.
Am I good?
Hmm?
Am I good?
Yeah, you might have a little something in your right nostril.
I can't look bad on camera.
I know, it's your podcast.
Yeah.
Kidding.
What do you think?
What? Yeah, you're good. I think you got it, yeah.
Yeah, what we notice in current tools is that the hardware is really good. They're really good at monitoring insulin, really good at collecting data, but the tools are only focused on keeping you alive, but they're not focused on helping you live normal and stress-free.
Okay.
So what we're trying to solve for is just to make your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're basically trying to aggregate as much data as we can across domains. So like collect, we already can collect your glucose and insulin level from your CGM, but we also want to collect like your meal timings, your exercise, your heart rate, and all as much data as we can from like an Apple Watch or iPhone or steps per day. Aggregate all this data and like kind of use machine learning to kind of build an understanding of your typical patterns.
Interesting.
Like let's say there's a month onboarding where we're learning everything we can about you, and then like basically use that to give you better insights. That it's like sometimes you get a low and it can be fatal, and sometimes you get a low and it's not bad, and our app can detect it. Oh yeah, this is not that bad because you're not just low right now, but it's like steadily going up, and we noticed this pattern 10 times.
Okay,
so
you're
good right now.
Like
versus
this is common
you don't have to wake up in the middle of the night for this one, but it's like, oh wait, this is pretty urgent. Like you need to deal with this now, and better insights. You open the app and it's like it kind of knows your day a little bit better, and it's like you watch out for this meal and this timing, and basically use all that data to give you better insights to help you like live a little bit stress free. So you're not constantly calculating. You can open the app and it kind of just helps.
Yeah, it's like adaptive, where like instead of like you said, instead of being like cut and dry, like you're gonna die, you need to go and I see what you mean. It just makes it accounts for like the nuance and like your routine and stuff. That's cool. That's good.
So I really think it can really help people.
Yeah. How did you choose like that specific like problem, that area with the type 1 diabetes? Do you know someone, or do you have a family member or something, or no?
Yeah, I can kind of walk you through like how I got here. The story kind of begins this semester, early Jan.
Okay.
But actually, I guess the prelude of that story is like the first startup I worked on, which is called Rookie.
Okay.
Which was a project I was working on for 6 months.
Wow.
So I co-founded it last August with 2 other people, and our goal was to build an AI sports dashboard, where it's like the most personalized dashboard, sports briefing, where you open it once a day and it just tells you everything you want to see.
Got you.
Your niche interests, your niche scores, but it uses machine learning to learn about you as a user and just give you the best sports briefing on the internet. So that was our goal. And I was working with a great team, and we made a lot of progress. We launched like 2 MVPs. And I was working on that for 6 months, and I had a great time working on it. And then the beginning of this year is where things started to change. So it all started when like the beginning of this semester, I was like, I really wanted to start a lot of new things in life.
Okay.
So I like applied to like 3 clubs. Then I also joined the boxing club. I applied to V1. I applied to Atlas Digital. I applied to KTP. At the same time, I was trying to pick up a lot of new skills like guitar, and then I was trying to learn boxing, and then I was trying to I want to learn surfing this summer. So it was like I get those stages every now and then where I'm like, shit, I want to do everything. So I scheduled everything to do. Like I was trying to start a little small online business to make money. Like I was doing so much stuff, right? And I kind of knew I wouldn't be able to do all of it, but I figured let's just throw everything out there and see what sticks. So a few things did stick, but I ended up getting rejected from like all those clubs. But before I did, so V1, they were hosting an event. It was a 3-hour event where there was 2 engineers from this company called Slash were visiting campus. So one of them was the head of engineering, one of them was a founding engineer, and one of those engineers actually attended Michigan for a year.
Okay.
And he told us really funny stories so casually that it almost made me laugh. But he was like, he said the first thing he said is like, "Hey, I'm Jason. I went to Michigan for a year. I was trying to work on a sneaker bot. You know what a sneaker bot is?
No.
So it's like back when reselling sneakers was a huge culture, like during COVID.
Okay, yeah.
People would design these bots that as soon as Nike releases a shoe, they buy out the whole stock and they resell it for like twice the price.
Right.
So that was because they would release them in like small amounts, like these Nike.
Yeah.
So that was like a huge thing. But that after Kanye started going crazy, it started kind of dying the sneaker industry. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, right.
But he said, yeah, I was trying to work on a sneaker bot and I was trying to study at Michigan, and it was too much to juggle. So I decided to just drop out of Michigan and just work on the sneaker bot. And I worked on the sneaker bot for a year, and then like the next year we were doing $2 million in revenue. And he said it so casually. And I'm like, okay, this guy's pretty cool. All right.
Yeah.
And these guys were presenting about this company called Slash. That these two people, one of them went to the University of Waterloo, I think.
Okay.
They went to university. They dropped out after a year. They worked in this company called Slash. It's a fintech startup for banks, and they scaled it to $150 million in revenue now. So they're very successful. They have like a 60-member team, and I was sitting in the back just listening to them, and I learned some things from what they said. But more than anything than what they said, I think hearing them talk made me feel something different internally. That like I felt like these people were very serious, and just very cracked, and they weren't like. They were just kind of like ship, work. And I was kind of thinking back, like these guys probably work day and night on their startup, right? Partly because they love it, but partly because they can't stop. And I realized that I needed to unlock a little bit of that energy in me because I wasn't doing the same energy in a Rookie. So I was kind of thinking about like how I wanted to like work on Rookie this semester and grow it. So, and at the same time as I was joining V1, I met some other people, and one of them told me that like he has 2 YC offers this summer. And like, YC is?
No, I don't.
So yeah, YC is like one of the biggest startup accelerator programs.
Okay.
In the country or the world, I think. And what they do is like they get like thousands of applicants every year. And
wow.
Every summer and winter they have a different batch. I think summer, winter, and fall. They basically are a bunch of venture capitalists who just invest in startups.
Got you.
So if you get accepted to the YC, you fill out an application, you record a video.
Yeah.
If they like your idea, they like your product, they give you like $500,000, and then you work on it throughout the summer, and then there's a demo day, you present what you've been able to accomplish that summer, and if you did even more, they probably give you more money.
Okay,
so
right.
Get millions of dollars in funding.
It's like a catalyst for any.
That's how DoorDash became successful. So DoorDash was originally a YC company. So was Airbnb.
Got you.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a big startup accelerator program, and he told me he's working at 2 startups that are funded by YC this summer. Wow. I'm like, how do you get 2 offers, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what? They told me, I just emailed 1,000 people. I'm like, what? You emailed 1,000 people? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
I gotta lock in.
God.
So I started emailing people. I started like buying emails online and like emailing startups.
Wow.
And I got to about 36, where I kind of gave up on that and switched to LinkedIn. Because I connected with a few people on LinkedIn, and I realized the percentage was so much higher. Mm-hmm. So then I connected with 150 people on LinkedIn, and I ended up getting 1 email response and like a bunch of LinkedIn responses. But then I ended up scheduling like 8 calls with founders.
Okay, wow.
My goal was just to like try to get a job this summer, and I spoke with them, like someone really well, someone pretty bad. A lot of them asked me to send their resume. I was like, let's go, and then I got ghosted, right? So like kind of hit a dead end on all of them so far. But maybe someone will reach out when the summer comes around. But one thing I learned from those 8 calls in the month of January was like the energy I felt on Slash kind of carried over with these people. Like I noticed they had this kind of energy to them. But another pattern I noticed is that their startups weren't super flashy. Like I feel like when people think startups, they're trying to think of like a product that'll change the world, or all this kind of crazy stuff, right? And that's kind of what I felt Rookie was. Like we're building a product that's designed for everybody, a brand new sports platform. Everyone's gonna use it. The social media platform, the new Instagram kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And I was thinking to myself like, okay, it is super flashy. It could work. But then all these startups are like very quiet, very silent, but silent killers that are doing really well in a niche industry nobody knows about, making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like one of the person I was talking to was like building a software platform to help solar plant developers figure out what's the best land to build their platform, to build their plant.
Right.
That was his whole startup.
Yeah, and that's solving a problem that exists. Like they're doing what a startup is meant to do, but it's like, you wouldn't think of that as being something that's needed.
Like I would never thought about that.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's
Another person was talking about they built a AI chatbot that you could talk to if you have dementia to delay your onset of symptoms.
Wow. That's
so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They like use Harvard-based scientific studies of like how the therapy is supposed to work. But the thing is, like, scaling that's so expensive because you can't talk to a human every single day.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk to a human every week or 2 weeks, but like in the meantime, they give you a chatbot you could talk to.
Okay, right.
So they're just like practice like talking about like food or like life, and like it uses all parts of your brain to kind of like. Cause I think loneliness is a big thing older people deal with, and like that's a lot of the causes of neurodegenerative diseases. So I thought that was sick, and I can just list off really so many examples of these random startups. Like one person built a AI tool that helps repair shop owners of cars like make estimates and upsells like more efficient. Like,
okay, wow.
Like, this is so random. Like I would never come up with that, right?
Exactly.
So immediately I realized that like my initial intuition last summer of like deep industry knowledge and like BME or EE or something like that is gonna be more important.
Okay.
So I thought to myself like, okay, if I had to pick one industry now, what would it be? And the industry I thought was really cool was like future city infrastructure. So I figured I would just work on Rookie, because like maybe that could be successful, but at least I'm building skills. But in the meantime, study future city infrastructure on my own. So I started studying that. But then my friend comes to me with this type 1 diabetes idea because he has type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
So we decided, we were actually in this room like last night mapping this out for like 5 hours or like 4 hours. And we submitted the YC application as well. It's due tomorrow.
Wow, awesome.
We had this idea, but we were going to try submitting.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this all weekend, mapping it out. I've done like 8 hours of research this weekend on it. And I'm like,
wow.
I realize it's a really good problem. There's some hurdles we have to overcome, but I'm willing to overcome those hurdles because I think they'll give you like a moat. That's the reason why a lot of people can't do it.
Yeah.
If you overcome those, it'll be a challenge, but I'm a lot more motivated to work on this, and it's helped me develop skills that are probably more important to me going forward.
That's amazing.
That's how we got to this idea.
That's cool. No, that's awesome.
I saw your I saw your eyes light up when I said Future City, but
yeah, I've heard of that, but like, can you explain that more? I was gonna say also that's an awesome process that you've gone through to come to just the understanding of like the startup industry, if you want to call it an industry, and like what it's what the people who are serious about it, like what it looks like, and that's cool. But yeah, what's the Future City? Idea.
It's funny you say that before, because even 2 months ago I used to talk about startups like I was a genius, and I'm like, I look back at 2 months ago, I'm watching my podcast, and I'm like, I don't know shit about startups.
Wow.
I'm here talking about startups on a podcast. I don't know anything though. I feel like I'm a little bit better now, but Future City, there's a lot of pillars to it. So if you think about like a typical city, there's like maybe 8 different things that are happening in tandem. Like there's government, there's transportation, there's like water, there's waste. There's all these different things that are happening in tandem to make a city function. Mm-hmm. And there's like 3 areas of Future City that I found interesting that, both have like really, you can go really deep into all of them. Number 1 was transportation efficiency. So like, I think traffic is still a big problem, especially places like New York, SF. So there's a lot of people that are digging into like research in terms of like how we can optimize that, optimizing traffic flows using AI and ML, optimal traffic lights. And also I don't know if you heard of like Elon Musk was building like years ago, but he was trying to build like that boring technology thing.
Yes.
It's like underground, like tunnels.
I remember hearing about it. And that was a long time ago. Anything. Yeah, it was a while ago.
So like there's a lot of things that people are looking into more efficient transportation, and things like that. Maybe like even as simple as like AI regulated traffic flows. But yeah, that's one industry of like improving traffic. Number 2 is like smart city and edge. So it's like making the city like feel intelligent. Like I'm sure you've heard about like intelligent homes where it's like there's cameras here and there's like things pick up audio here. So it's like the whole home is like its own kind of entity. And I guess there's people looking into like how you can make a city smarter by like aggregating more data from different places. And I'm not too sure about the applications of that because I didn't read too deeply there.
I was gonna say like
I'm sure like there's probably ways you can use that for maybe public safety or for like maybe again efficient transportation and things like that. But kind of like more intelligent kind of city kind of thing.
Interesting. Aren't there usually privacy concerns there?
Yeah, it's a big challenge.
The biggest challenge.
It's a big challenge. Yeah. There was the third one. I low-key don't remember, but there's a lot of components to Future City stuff. Yeah. I find the transportation stuff the most interesting right now.
Yeah. No, I know the whole traffic thing is so funny. Like we all just know it's a problem, but like, and there are people, of course, working and so much money into like improving it, but it doesn't feel like it really, improves. At least in the years I've been alive, right? But I mean, it needs to go somewhere because that's interesting. That's cool stuff. Yeah. That falls under like civil like engineering like
that's
concepts, right?
That's what I thought. So like when I got interested in this, I thought like maybe I should do civil engineering. So I called 2 friends I have in civil, and I try to understand from them like what they do, but I think civil's a bit different.
Okay.
Or at least like it is kind of under civil, but if you're the one building like the technology for cities, then a CS plus EE background is typically who does that. The civil is probably still on like the old school kind of like building planning.
Okay, right.
That kind of stuff.
More the design of So of like where the humans are gonna go rather than like the tech itself is more of like
So like even if like it's under the umbrella of civil, like the people building the tech I think are the CS and E.
Right. Yeah.
So. But I thought the same thing as you.
Right.
So that's why I was like calling people
I guess it makes sense because like those devices like in on their own are still just like a need the design of someone who's in there, but then the application is where probably the civil background is needed. Yeah. Okay. That's good stuff.
Yeah. I know so many people are pessimistic about the future, but like, I feel like there's gonna be so much more opportunity people don't know about in terms of so many industries opening. So.
That's true. Yeah. I know. Like recently, I talked with my dad about like how AI. I mean, this isn't a new concept, but it's like such a step function, like in terms of like just as a technological advancement, just like the internet was, and like. It's so crazy that like we are right like at the onset of that, and like you know in 10 years like what is it going to look like the implications of this, the machine learning that is used in you know so many like applications now, like how are we going to scale that, like you said with the future learning stuff. That's so cool though. Like that kind of stuff I love following. Like would never like go into it like you know in terms of learning like to such like an extent, but I always love to see like, oh wow, this city's doing this now. Like that's cool to see that like we've come this far. Yeah.
At any point have you ever worried about like job security or like AI takeover at all? Or that's never like been a concern for you in terms of your field?
Dude, I don't know. I honestly haven't done enough like research, even like you know surface level research into like what that looks like with I don't know with the onset of AI now, but I mean I'd like to think I'm optimistic on the fact that like we always need you know human elements and human like human decision making, right, in like every field. But at the same time I think it is exciting that AI can do that for us, because they're always going to need people to be monitoring and designing the AI, right? That's like a given. And then also like again there's so many fields that still require like the human like you know, for us to appreciate them, we need to be involved in them in a way, like the you know the whole AI slop idea. Like nobody likes AI made videos anymore, because the reason we liked videos before is because they're made by humans. So it's like if there is like resistance to it, it's like at the end of the day, maybe we won't value the like advancement over like I don't know over the tradition in a way.
I agree. Like I think when you see something AI generated that's done well, you're almost like, whoa, that's so damn good.
Yeah.
Like whether it's text on ChatGPT or videos or audio too. I mean, some of the audio's been alright too.
Yeah.
But I think you realize there's a pattern that over time it's like, wait, it's really good at generating this one thing.
Right.
And it's like so repetitive, and you can almost like look at something and that's AI generated. You know, it kind of builds a standard, and it kind of standardizes everything, and it's like. It's not necessarily always that impressive, because you can always make something better than it, right?
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, there's so much that AI is good at, and I think in terms of standardization, automation, like there's so many good applications that have improved so many people's lives. But I think that people who start to say that everything's just blanket replaced, like I don't see that future happening.
Me neither. Because, like. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, like we still want to be here and have a purpose. It's not all about like advancing the society. Like I don't know. Yeah. Again, I feel like I just don't know enough to get into it that much. But that's just like my opinions, you know, off the top of my head. So.
Yeah, I have some friends that are really pessimistic.
Really?
One of my friends told me that software engineers and engineers are like what farmers were in the 1700s. Like they don't like they're gonna disappear just like that. And I'm like, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely like a valid view, because right now it seems like, you know, you can give a prompt to, you know, something even just like ChatGPT and say like, write me code for this. I can write hundreds of lines and like instantly. And that's something that, you know, it'll take me years to learn how to do. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it'll be like everything. It'll be a balance of like we'll use it for good, and it'll give us the advancements we need. But then like you know at the end of the day, jobs have been being replaced for hundreds of years. It's just the way that it works when we want to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think so. My friend was literally like, he thinks we're gonna have universal basic income. Like he thinks that there's gonna be such a low amount of jobs available that everyone's gonna have like a paycheck from the government, like that. Like I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Yeah. I don't see that happening. Even Elon Musk thinks it's gonna be universal basic income, but not like UBI, but like high UBI is what his theory is. Okay. Where it's like, you know, obviously universal basic income is like for poor people, and it kind of sucks. Yeah. Like a little bit of money, but he thinks that AI is gonna create such a huge amount of wealth that there's gonna be an abundance of wealth for everyone. So everyone's gonna have like a lot of money coming from the government.
I've never heard of that before.
I'm like, I just can't see it happening.
Yeah.
I think the way humans are and our human nature, like that's just not gonna happen. we're competitive in spirit.
Yeah,
Capitalism
exactly.
is the only thing that really works.
Right. I was gonna say, like, we won't just like lose that like drive. Like, it's been a thing forever. I mean, it was at least mainly, you know, in America, as long as America.
Well, low-key, it has been forever.
Yeah, I mean,
tribes and
to
shit.
some, yeah,
they want to kill each other.
Like, the competition is what drives improvement, right? This is a basic thing, and you can't, like the AI being the competition against other AI just doesn't make sense. You need the humans to have that motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think AI is good at a lot of things, but there's a lot of things it's not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can use it kind of everywhere, but you can't just toss everything at it.
Exactly, right.
Yeah. Everything, but I'm excited for the future, though. I think there's a lot of cool stuff on the way.
I'm very glad to be like alive now, where we my baseline for technology is like what is such a wonder to like my grandparents, right? Like, I mean, that happens every generation, but like I said, especially with AI, I think it'd be like even more across our lifetime. We'll see so much change in like, you know, every day, you know, conveniences and all that. Yeah,
I'm curious, have you talked to like older people and like gotten their perspective on this kind of stuff? Like, I don't know, your family or grandparents or anything, like, because I always wonder what they think about this kind of technology and
about like AI onset stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't really talked much, because I mean, my grandparents are one of my grandmas is very old, so she just is completely out of touch with that, and it's not even worth bringing up. And the other one is like younger, but she is kind of just resistant to like, you know, talking about it, because she just doesn't even want to doesn't want to try to understand it in like a negative way, but she's just like, it doesn't matter to her, because I don't know, she knows what she knows in a way. So no, not really. I mean, I've talked to my dad a lot about it. He's in automotive industry, being from Detroit area. Everybody's from automotive, and he has a lot to say about it because he follows that kind of stuff. But I don't know. There's certain things. I think he thinks similar to me, and I probably get a lot of my views from him unconsciously about, you know, that it's going to be helpful, but it's going to take some jobs. I don't know. Not too much, to answer your question.
I've always wondered, like, when we get older, like, will we resist the new technology too?
Yeah.
Because, like, we always think that, we're the young ones, like, we'll always kind of be open to new stuff.
Right.
And I don't know. I guess, like...
Yeah, eventually you cross a line, right? And then you're the one looking down on the new,
Yeah. I wonder what technology's going to be like when we're older.
I know, that's the thing. Like I think the clearest one is, like, for me, is photography, right? Like, there's obviously the trend, and I love, like, film photography and, like, digital photography, but, like, you know, our cameras take, like, absolutely amazing pictures compared to anything from, like, 20 years ago. And like, the fact that we appreciate film photography, right, is kind of its own thing, but, like how are photos gonna get better? Like, to us, we have, like, no way of, like, knowing what that's gonna look like. Like, you know, there's, like, the hologram idea and all that stuff, but it's, like, what is gonna be the advancement of, like, if we're talking specifically photography, like, how is that gonna get better, right? And it's, like, we can't even understand that, because...
somehow it will be.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
Apple's
somehow
always
it will be.
making an amazing new camera. Like, the iPhone camera's amazing.
Yeah.
You're into photography?
A little bit. I'm, like, interested in it. I really want to get a film camera, just because, like, car photography and, like, nature, like, film photography is, like, something I, like, have, like, I follow so many people on Instagram that do that kind of stuff, just because I think it's so cool. But I don't know. I think it's interesting to me, because if the subject is right, I mean, it's, like, just artistic appreciation. Mm-hmm. It's its own kind of art, I feel like, so.
Yeah, we have a friend on the boxing team who, like, takes photos and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He takes good photos.
I did that. My friends did a, like, you know, rec basketball league in the winter, and my friend who's here has, like, a great camera, and he gave it to me to take pictures. He was on the team, though, so he was playing, and I had a lot of fun with that, like, you know, walking around the court and stuff. And I took pictures. He's on the club soccer team here, and I took pictures for him there too. So yeah, it was just fun to dabble in that, and I could just say, like, oh yeah, I've taken some pictures for sports before.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, because, you know, so much of, like, social media is all photo based, and it's got to come from someone, right? And so I think it's cool to see, like, that there's people, or I should say, it's cool to know, like, just like the music thing, right? It's cool to know, like, what it takes to take those photos that become, like, popular or used all the time, stuff like that.
Yeah, I've never been big into photos, but, like, I think that when you see, like, some well-taken photos, or you take some good photos yourself, it's like, you start to really think about it. Like, there's a whole kind of, like, process to this.
Exactly.
It's so cool to think about.
And to a lot of people, it's kind of unconscious, like, because we are taking photos with our phones all the time, like, what a good photo looks like versus a bad one. But I think if you are actively trying to take good photos, like, it's cool also to look back and appreciate.
It's a whole art. Like, there's so many things happening at the same time.
Yeah, I'm always the one who takes the pictures in the friend group too, and I take pride in that. Like, people, if, like, they ask for a photo, or, like, they ask for, like, an event, like, you know, and if I'll always have the pictures of it. I have, like, you know, 16,000 pictures probably on my phone, and, like, so many Snapchat, like, memories and stuff. Like, I love that, because, like, you know, the best way to like retrieve a memory is with some sort of photo or video. That's the way it is like nowadays, right? And I think taking photos of like as much as you can is like a great way of documenting, even if it's like stupid things like, you know, I got this coffee or I went here, like if that's a memory you have or like a picture tied to that day, like that's a good way of like journaling in a way. So yeah, I really appreciate like I bring a digital camera to like the parties, and I brought one like when I went up north in Michigan with my friends, like, and I love looking back at those pictures and like photo editing and stuff. It's great. Yeah. Another little hobby.
I've thought about that because there was a stage in my life where I wasn't using my phone too much. Like sophomore year, like I took a lot of photos. I remember of high school, and then like I feel like junior senior year I got busy and I was like more locked in on a lot of things, and I kind of stopped using my photos, taking as many photos, or using my phone. And I remember like near the end of junior senior year, I was like scrolling through my camera, and I'm like, damn, there's no photos here.
Wow.
Like it sucked. So like I think when I came to college, I kind of switched that, like trying to take more photos, and it's been nice because like you're right, it is kind of like a form of like a digital journal where you can look back, and looking at one photo just like opens your eyes. Like,
exactly.
You just remember so many things that happened that day, especially like photos with friends. Where
exactly.
Like, oh yeah, I can remember 100%. This moment. Yeah. You know, and like that's kind of like what I felt the podcast has kind of become like as well. Like it's a kind of digital time capsule.
Exactly.
I think that forcing myself to do one every single week on like a very strict cadence is like, you know, I mean, I can access a conversation from every week in my life, and like
that is cool.
Yeah.
You can see how you've changed, and you can see there are different like people that you like, you know, put. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's like as you're moving through life, it's like the people around you are kind of like they're with you for that stage, and some people stay for a long time. Some people come and go as you kind of go through life, and it's like it's cool to like look back at like that one conversation I had with that one person. Like, I'm not seeing him in a while, and you know, it's like if it's a movie, it's like the characters you see kind of along the way.
Right. Yeah.
And you know,
I've never thought about that as it being a sort of time, especially because you've been doing it now for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like this is kind of a given, but it's like assuming, you know, you'll have kids and stuff, you want to show them like what your life was like, because you'll be, you know, in your 40s and your kids are gonna be like, what were you like when you were, you know, in your 20s and your teenage years? And like the fact that we have so many pictures now is actually like it's kind of crazy, because like of pictures I've seen of my dad at my age, it's like maybe 20 like, you know, film pictures, and then digital as digital got big, right? But then for us it'll be like this endless like online profile
everything you want
created. Yeah. It's another thing that's like cool to see, like how it will change is like the way, you know, the next generation, as in like our kids, will be able to access like our life when we were younger. They'll be able to have a better picture of it, I think, than we all do right now, our parents.
Yeah, it's scary because I think that when I see photos of my parents, like the one or two they can find, it feels kind of weird, and they're not even that young in a lot of those photos, right? But like photos from like 20 years ago. And it's like I look at them and it just feels so weird. I'm like kind of off a little bit. And like I don't know what they'd feel like seeing this kind of stuff. Like it just feels so weird.
Yeah,
just like
I know.
Seeing like your dad at like 19 years old, just like
it's really, and you're like he could have been one of the people I see every day at school, but like, you know, it's a weird concept. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah,
our future, looking back at this time. But it's gonna be so sick. I wonder how many of these episodes my kids will be able to watch.
Yeah, right.
There's so much out there, hundreds and hundreds of hours. So.
Yeah, yeah. Future's fun with technology, right? It kind of it can extend like the memories. I don't know,
definitely
all that kind of stuff.
You can send your kids this little video, like, oh yeah, I did this.
What was that?
But you'll also have a video to send this. You can send this video to.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's an hour and a half of me.
That would be awesome. Exactly. Yeah.
Just a freshman year of college.
The lack of. Yeah. No, it's cool.
Yeah, I think time is like one of the most fascinating things for me. Like, you know, because whenever I go home, like now that I went to a boarding school in high school.
Okay, really.
And like whenever I go into my old like middle school or high school, like that's really when time feels like. You know, whenever I walk back in those campuses, it's like this feels like a whole different lifetime.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it's just like time is something that's so confusing but so fascinating
and like also, yeah, this is where like philosophy thing. I'm in a personality psychology class right now, but like this just kind of ties into that. But like your like self, you know, like image and like how that's constantly changing. But then also like or I should say like it changes so much in like a year, but like every day it's like so little that you don't notice it, right? It's so interesting to me. Like the person, you know, I was in like middle school would like see me now and be like, that's not gonna be me, you know what I mean? But it is gonna be you, because that's just maturing too. But like, I don't know, I think the whole like self-image thing and like the way you can change your own personality is like also fascinating. You can, I don't know, like do that in many different ways with like affirmations and like, you know, reflection and stuff. But like, yeah, I think that's a cool subject. I mean, that's just the stuff we're starting to talk about in my class right now. So that's why it's relevant to me. But yeah.
Yeah. Because I imagine if, like 3 different versions of you, of, like, I don't know, 12, 15, 18, 19, whatever, it's like, they all kind of came together and saw each other. It's like, I don't know, sometimes I wonder if they'd even recognize each other.
Right.
But I'm sure even with your life, like, you've been to so many different stages and so much different growth that it's like, I mean, also all your cells that were in your body at 15 have probably died. And, like, you're probably not even the same person at 15.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Biologically, you know?
Yeah, that is.
Still have the same brain and stuff. I guess your brain cells have died.
That gets in. Have you heard of, like, ego death in philosophy?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, I have a friend who, like, reads copious philosophy and into psychedelic stuff and all that, and he, like, explained to me while we were on senior spring break in Mexico. It was like 4 a.m. We're sitting on the beach, and he explained to me the whole, like, if you were to be, and honestly, I don't remember all of it, but it was the idea of, like, if I were to take you, decompose you to, like, every atom, and then, like, have some sort of machine that spawns you, like, on Mars, and with the same atoms, but, like, composed the same way, but you were, like, decomposed. It was, like, is that still you? And it was the whole, like, it's, like, this, like, you have the illusion of, like, yourself is the same self as you were, like, yesterday and a second ago. You should read into it. I think it's a crazy, like, concept of, like, you only think of this as you because, like, you've been telling yourself that your whole life and you've been told that, and, like, your perspective is coming, like, out of this body. But it's, like, that's why, like, you hear about, like, these insane psychedelics, and it's like, yeah, you could turn into, like, you know, an apple on a tree. And it's like, that's because it's messing with your sense of self. And it's like, I don't know. I think that stuff is crazy interesting. But where did I get that from? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, we can go into that.
I forget what did you mention?
Time.
Yeah.
That's maybe. So sick. Because, like, you should watch episode 134.
Yeah.
With Max Angel. We talk about psychedelics for 2 hours.
Okay, sweet.
But the concept of the ego death is, like, so interesting to me. Cause it's really big in, like, Buddhism and, like, a lot of these cultures as well. Because I think that some people have been able to achieve that. 1 second.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm on the other side of being sick, so we're almost better.
The cough and the
cough stage.
Stuff. Yeah.
Like, a lot of people in history, like monks and stuff, have been able to achieve that ego death without even, like, psychedelics or anything like that, and just through meditation. And,
yeah.
I mean, this concept of you being an illusion, like, I mean, it makes sense so much. That, like, I think when we think about who are you, who is Anthony, you talk about, like, I'm a student at Michigan.
Yeah,
studying B&B
right. You say the worldly things, right? Which is typical, but
apparently none of that's real.
Yeah, right. It's so crazy. And then it's funny too, like, the amount of people that don't even, like, it's funny. Going back to that psych class, it's called openness, by the way. Our ability to, like, or our drive to, like, play with ideas, and people who don't have that is, like, so crazy to me that I don't even want to, like, I don't know, debate philosophy and that kind of thing for a second, because I'm like, I mean, it's I don't know, part of being human, I feel like, is the whole, you know, existence and everything that comes underneath that. It's fun to talk about.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, for a lot of people, it's scary.
Yeah, right. That's why.
Like, you're touching on a very personal thing where it's like, shit, I'm not real. I
don't
want to deal with that. But, I've thought about it a lot because I love the world and life. And, like, I'm very attached to the world.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. Like, you know, my favorite part of life is just going about life and, like, obsessing over winning and doing well and like in a positive way in this, like, but in some way that's, like, very attached to the world. I think separating from the world is very hard.
Right. Exactly.
Who knows if one day we'll do it, but
yeah, because in a way it seems meaningless because we've been told that, like, our, you know, values and, like, you know, what we achieve every day and stuff, and they add up, like, the what's the word I'm looking for, the sum of all that, right? But it's like, if you take a second to stand back and are like, let's look at the things that, like, aren't measured and stuff, and it's fun to play with those ideas. I've definitely gotten into that friend I just mentioned. He just, like, he could go on and explain these things for hours, and I swear I only absorbed, like, 20% of it.
He'd be good for the podcast.
Yeah, he would be. He'd be fun.
Just let him know. Something to, like, see if he's down.
Yeah, he lives back home.
Okay.
But it's not far. I mean, he's visited before. His sister goes here too, so
for real?
he might come by. I'm sure he'd love to talk. Yeah, and he's a big meditator, all that stuff. It's like the fact that I'm still friends with him. He hasn't always been that way, but he's gotten into it, right? And I think that's part of the main reason that I, you know, find this stuff fascinating, is because I have a person who's kind of made it, like, more tangible in a way, if you can even call philosophy tangible. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the stuff that just doesn't make sense to the human brain.
Right.
You know, like psychedelics, meditation. And who knows if I'll ever understand it? I don't know. It's like it's one of those topics. Some people love it. Some people are just like, "Fuck that."
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where I stand on this stuff.
Yeah, me either. It's hard to have those own like, I believe this, and yeah, it's interesting. I say with so many topics, I need to read more into it, and I never do. But it's, you can't know everything about everything. So
yeah, and I feel like this idea of things not being real, like they exist at the ego level for sure in terms of who you are, but I've also been reading about like how they don't exist at like a large scale level, that like, okay, the world, a lot of the things we like agree upon as real are just stories really, and like they only exist inside a human brain. Really. Like for example, the concept of a country,
right?
Like there's no actual border, we just all agree that it's true.
Right.
And if like humans were to disappear, it's like there's no USA or Canada,
right?
There's no Germany or like Berlin, or like Frankfurt, like those are just concepts.
Exactly, I know. That stuff is crazy. Like, like the TikToks you see, it's like people saw this and really made credit card debt and all that. It's like that's so real, true though, because it's like that's funny. The word is like constructs, right? These constructs that we make, and like getting a job and having credit score. It's like it's all just it's just things we agree upon. That's funny.
That's the only way humans are able to function. Like if we don't have these agreed upon realities, like we would have never. Like I think everything from money to religion to nationality, to like sports and like hobbies and the school identity, like it's all just baked into like these stories we tell ourselves so that we can collaborate. And I think that's the only reason why humans like risen to the top of like the food chain is like our ability to like collaborate in groups because we can come up with stories. Because like it's hard to get like hundreds of people to agree to one thing.
Yeah.
If we all can just make a story that we all believe, like we can all do anything.
Yeah, and it starts with like the stories, generations and generations ago, like they tell, and it'd be like this story is a good thing that happened, this story is a bad thing that happened, and then that just evolves and evolves and evolves, and it's like these things are good to do and these things are bad. Yeah.
Because like objectively, like a shark or a bear can like fuck the shit out of a human.
Yeah, right.
Like, fuck it up and kill it. But it's like I think humans are just so good at collaboration.
Right.
And at such a even today you see it at a global scale, which is fascinating.
Yeah. I remember learning sometime, I think it was probably like freshman year, like in a history class, like the whole globalization concept, and like once communication became like global, like how that just turned us into this absolute entity that just takes over the world in terms of other animals. And it's cool to know that like you can see a video from like the most remote country ever just instantly because we just I don't know, have the infrastructure for it and come this far.
There's a lot of fascinating things that humans have created, but one of the things that still just boggles my mind is like the whole intercommunication system. How in like I can click a button and in seconds I can say a word, and it's instantly in India. Yeah. It's instantly in Africa.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is insane.
And it shows up on a screen that's made out of lights that we created ourselves too. Like or like the whole idea of like if you tap your phone in the right spots, you just get a pizza delivered to your house.
It's so crazy.
It's like, it is crazy. Yeah.
Across millions of miles.
Yeah.
It's just
like if you would have so many things. If you would have told anybody from the BC ages, they would have been like, that's magic, it's complete magic, and now it's like every day.
And like data security and how like if I send a message it only goes to your phone, like at the end of the day it's a wave in the air, and it somehow doesn't go to anyone else's phone but yours.
I know.
Absolutely insane.
And like Bluetooth, like all that stuff is like so crazy. Like we all have these Bluetooth devices, but they're all only connected to the specific device.
Like how does this, like there's a million things going on there right now.
It's crazy.
And I'm taking X370 right now, which is computer organization. So like obviously when people see code, like a person who doesn't know how to code looks like, well, it's all gibberish, like what the hell's going on? Like that's how things work, but it's like 370 explains like how a computer don't even know what code does.
Okay. And is it like I'm trying to think. Is it like array stuff like behind, or is that's like compiler stuff? Right?
Yeah. Okay. So it goes into like, okay, you see a line of code like a for loop. And it converts a for loop. If you write it in C++, it converts it to assembly code.
Right.
And then assembly code is converted to just machine code.
I meant assembly. Did I say assembly?
I think you said something.
Okay, I meant assembly.
I think you said
oh my god, I meant assembly. That's what it is. That's like the in between in terms of. Okay,
So like it converts it to assembly, but assembly converts it to machine code, and I'm like, machine code is all zeros and ones.
Yeah.
So it's like this computer, this mic, this TV, like this mic picking up audio, me sending a text to my friend, this camera picking up video. The way it all works is like billions of zeros and ones.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's all
so
it is.
Crazy
all it is
like,
billions of zeros and ones.
Yeah, so like it's funny that like to us it's like, oh, it's literally like magic how this works, but then it couldn't be more simple on how it works. It's like it's literally this binary. Like I know what you mean. That's insane.
I was looking at like, okay, I can understand how you can translate a for loop to that, but these insane operations, hardware, software, it's all just like high voltage, low voltage, zeros and ones. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, this is funny. I'm glazing this friend at this point. That same friend is doing what is it called? Oh my God, embedded systems engineering. So
that's like
a lot of EE and then CS too. He has a background in like coding and stuff. And he talks about like, again, same with the philosophy thing. A lot of it goes over my head, but he loves it, and so he just loves talking about it to someone. But it talks about like the whole logic gate thing on a chip, right? And like to me, that I never knew that was a thing. But again, it's zeros and ones. It's either on or off, and then the software is either on or off, and it communicates. And it's just we have this magic that we use every day, and it's the most basic. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Connect me with your friend.
What? Yeah, I will. He's he's a pretty cool guy. He's pretty introverted guy, but he's really, really intelligent. His knowledge base is just so vast, bro. Like you can't argue with him and be right about anything because he just knows more than you.
That's crazy.
He did his undergrad online. And then now he's getting his master's at like the local college where I live. So
did he speedrun that?
He's my age and he's getting his master's in like next year. Yeah, he kind of sped around. Yeah, he's doing stuff in high school like in the background. So he's a cool dude.
To him, bro. What does he want to do in life?
What was that?
What does he want to do in life?
I honestly couldn't tell you, but obviously with embedded systems, I think startups are up there. I think he'd love to work for a small company and be a part of like growing it like any entrepreneur would. But I think he really likes to work on the chip level and like I couldn't tell you. I mean, he's explained so many things to me that like right now I know he's like I just want to get project experience. So he's been buying all these like chip kit things and stuff and doing all the coding. He has like a whole like soldering setup in his room and stuff. So I really think he likes the hardware like but then of course the hardware needs the software and he knows the software stuff. So I think he just wants to be able to work for a company that is constantly I guess adjusting these. Which is every company, every tech company, but I couldn't tell you. So maybe he'd have a better answer for that if he came on or something. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. That is Anthony. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down. You're doing a lot of cool stuff in life. So it's really exciting to talk to you.
Yeah.
What's next for you in life? Where we going in life?
Oh, after I finish this semester, I don't know. We'll see. I really want to figure out in the next year like what I want to do after college. You know what I mean? Or after grad school, whatever it is, because I think I have so many interests, and obviously I'm studying, I'm getting a major, and that's usually what you get into as a career, but I really want to see, like, do I want to work with people? Do I want to work in research? Do I want to work with tech and all that? And need to do some soul searching, do some research and stuff, because I think in the background I've always been like, yeah, I'm set, I'm smart, I'll figure it out, and I've never actually, like, intentionally figured it out. So I think that's a big one. So, yeah, doing that, staying active at the gym, building my friendships. I mean, it's college, bro. It's great. You get to do everything at the same time. So yeah,
that's good.
Staying positive. Yeah, it's good.
I love it. Yeah, but I think you have a lot more clarity than you think. I think fitting into a picture of careers and majors and stuff might take some time, but I think you're pretty clear on the things you love. You love a lot of things and you do a lot of cool things.
It's good to say it out loud for sure right now.
I'm excited to see where you end up, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you, Sharia.
And I'll probably just keep seeing you around the gym. And
of course.
Going,
yeah, good to know. Good to know I got you to talk to if I need it.
Yeah. Let's get you signed in the poster. I think you're episode 144.
All right, sweet.
So let me get your Sharpie. Yeah, sorry I've been sick today.
No, it's fine.
Oh,
yeah. All right. I don't know if I have anything cool to add.